What is going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel, and if you guys are new, welcome. Since Bungie is going down as a dumpster fire right now, with being DDoSed, it seems like, again, or something, with all the firings and Sony and everything in that realm with the final shape delay, I figured I'm gonna give y'all my 3 cheesiest of cheesy builds for the Trials of Osiris, that comp, just Crucible in general. Today we're going over the Warlock version, which is of course a Shadebinder build with those Ozymancy gloves, having that double cold snaps, freezing enemies consistently, as well as using that conditional finality, of course, for that bubble and well prevention, and just annihilate guardians with this build, going in with the cheesiest of the cheese. So starting us off for the Shadebinder, Drip looking fine with that double 100s in recovery and discipline on this build, with trying to have at least 50 in the resilience. Now for our helmet right here, you can see we got the solar targeting as well as powerful friends. Now these can be whatever you're using, arc, solar, void, stasis, strand, totally up to you. Now on our Ozymancy right here, grenade kickstarter with impact induction, causing damage with our melee, gives us that grenade cooldown with getting a little bit of grenade energy when we throw it out. On our chest piece, of course, unflinching solar, so because we're using our igneous hammer, again, you can put it to whatever you want in our unflinchings down here. Moving on to our boots, picking up those orbs of power. Definitely want recuperation as well as innervation, because we want to spam our abilities as fast as possible and as often as possible. With this, it helps a lot, especially with absolution as well, so we can get all of our energies back by picking up that orbs of power, but it really depends on our aspects and fragments on the actual Shadebinder subclass. And last but certainly not least, we're going to do double bomber and reaper, so we can make even more of those orbs of power, as well as get back that cold snap very quickly. Now, like I said, we're going to be using conditional finality. This thing absolutely slaps. Getting them defeats with this feels just too clean, especially inside of a bubble or a well, when you can get them to freeze and then explode with that ignition. Just is a chef's kiss, especially since literally everybody is running bubble or well, because Trials has that capture the point. So this thing is a must almost to counter that. Now for me, I use this igneous hammer quite a bit. I love this thing. You can throw on anything else, like I said, whatever feels best for you. I have an Oversoul Verdict as well. That is adept from Kingsfall. Absolutely slaps. I should say Crota's End. What am I talking about? But definitely just throw on whatever you like. But that's why I'm using my solar targeting and solar unflinching. And then that chain reaction auto-loading 85 blast radius cataphract GL from Trials. That's why I'm sending y'all this build right here, and the 2 that for Titan and Hunter coming out in the next couple days here, because they are just too cheesy, helping me get flawless every single weekend as a solo. And I really am not the best at PvP. I am definitely more of a PvE player, so I promise these builds will help you with that solo flawless gameplay, especially, and that nice comp even in normal 6s. On to the most important part of this build, our aspects and fragments. Now for me, I'm using the Healing Rift with Burst Glide. You can use whatever you want for your jump. Now we're using Penumbral Blast, of course, and that Cold Snap, so we can have 2 of them. Now for our aspects, first off, we're going to be using the Ice Flare Bolts. Shattering a frozen target seeks that tracker and the freeze nearby targets, so it's a little chain reaction of having the Cold Snap and Flare Bolt combination. You can freeze all 3 guardians very easily. Now we're using Frost Pulse as well, so when we throw down our Rift, we can also freeze nearby combatants. very good with supers coming at you, people just in general, those titans coming at the shoulder charge. You got the stasis, or I should say the strand hunter, doing that dive to try to suspend you. This can stop it, so it is very, very clutch with this build. Now for our fragments right here, primary ammo weapons do more damage to stasis crystals and frozen targets. This is super nice for that kinetic whatever we're using in the igneous hammer. For me, it is a little bit of extra damage to destroy those frozen targets. Now, a whisper of hedrons right here, we have increased weapon stability, aim assist, and airborne effectiveness, mobility, resilience, and recovery after freezing a target. So this right here is super, super clutch, because look at how much we get with this build just from freezing one target, and we have double cold snaps, we have our rift, as well as our melee. So there are 5 different times that we can freeze people, and just in a second you'll see we can get them back very, very quickly. So gain energy when we take damage from targets. One way that we are getting this back quickly in our double cold snap, and most importantly, I think right here we are taking that nice frozen targets and friendly stasis crystals. You take reduced damage from those targets, so this is super nice. You freeze those enemies that you're near, you can melee them, it'll chain next to each other with ice flare bolts, and you can just keep alive because of whisper of chains, and then you gain energy because you're taking some damage with it, and you are able to just get everything back very, very, very quickly because of that. So the whole point of the build is when you're freezing those targets, getting the chain of hedrons and torment, and then reaction to all happen. You're able to stay alive because you're near those frozen targets. You get that ability regen because of freezing the targets as well. Plus, with everything on our armor mods, in getting the energy back from doing melee damage, casting our rift down, getting the freezes there, as well as having grenade kickstarter, you're able to have at least one grenade up every single round, as well as your rift and melee almost every single round with the melee, depending on how many times you freeze those targets. So in 6s, it is a constant barrage of throwing those cold snaps and freezing targets. In trials, it is so wild how much you can get with freezing targets and getting that shatter of the stasis crystals. You can see inside of a well in this trials match, I throw like 3 or 4 of these stasis crystal grenades here, shooting people with the conditional finality, getting those explosions, and we were able to get the win in this round. So you can see why this build is just cheesy, and it works so good, especially in the PvP meta and in trials with capture the point. So definitely warlocks, use this boy inside of that crucible realm. Absolutely cheesy, and it is so delicious, just because that is what the PvP realm is all about. So thank you guys again for watching. Be on the lookout for the Titan and Hunter video coming. I truly appreciate you guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.